Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed last episode. Since then, I quickly went around and stuck a torch in each of the floating island bases, just so that we could get mostly the tavern keep to spawn back in, because he died and I didn't have any spare houses left. So we now have a few of those filled up. But unfortunately they're all too high for me to jump up to. So I shall use one of these houses down here to transfer around those which I need. So we can move the tavern keep in. And let him move home. Because I mentioned last episode that we didn't pick up any Eternia crystals. Let's got a couple of those. And they will be important for obviously fighting the old one's army. Which we should also do at some point. And in that vein, I have done a little bit of measuring to create a stretch of flat land here where we could build an old one's army. A little bit of terraforming needed to get it down level with the rest of the land, but we'll probably build it lower anyway. However, it's not looking too good at the moment. And this isn't looking too good at the moment. And this really isn't looking too good at the moment. So I think what we really need is a time lapse to fix some of that. yes, having done that, I do think it does look a whole lot better. It's not finished yet. Mostly done, but I'd like to add in a few spots of just a little bit of honey here and there for me to dip into if I need be. A few other little tweaks. I might look at getting maybe sunflowers, but the two that we've got down there already do a pretty good job of covering the whole area. Should be suitable for a Skeletron fight, and I have extended it a bit as well. So before the old platforms only came to about here, giving myself a little bit more space to run away. That being one of the things I do, but that's pretty good. We have down here, and we now have housing again, suitable housing, as you can see by someone living here. The guide's back, and we just have this sort of, I wanted to go for an industrial-ish look. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it'll serve its purpose. You can duck down, there's a little bit of chain there, which looks pretty cool, and yeah, it's alright. It does look a little bit off fitting in, but I don't really have any other style I'd like to go for it, so I'm happy enough with that. And then we have the arena further over. Again, it's simple enough. By the time I got to this part, I was a little bit over creating the time lapse, because as you noticed, I've used a different system for creating the time lapse this time, and that system looks good, but it does have some downsides. Firstly, it's a bit annoying to set up. So what I do is I have a second account, set up a multiplayer server, and I record with a second account while it's invisible. And oftentimes it was also hanging onto somewhere using a grappling hook. So the grappling hook was visible, but I'd use a F11 to turn off the UI, except for that one clip which I forgot if I included it in the time lapse. And yeah, unfortunately, invisibility potions only last for I think 3 minutes, or until you take damage, which proved to be a little bit annoying. And there can be some lag because it's a multiplayer server. I couldn't get a local area network working. I'm not sure what exactly the problem was there, but I'll have to troubleshoot it. So the lag was perhaps more than it needed to be, since I was going over Steam. And so that was a little bit annoying. Another annoying part was the RNG of events. So during the time it took me to record that time lapse, I had to fight off 2 goblin armies, 2 blood moons, and a sandstorm. The sandstorm was while building this arena. As you can see by the background, it's being affected by the desert here, and I believe this is also the underground desert underneath everything. We haven't explored directly below here, or at least not immediately below here. Further down we have, but it's still close enough that unless you get right up this side, it stays desert. So even there it's desert, here it's desert, and you need to get almost all the way out of the arena before it stops being a desert. which doesn't let you record most of where the time-lapsing is happening. But yes, I just went for a simple marble. Should be long enough. I wanted it to look artificial, like it had been constructed. And we've got grates along here. The idea is, once I've defeated Skeletron and found a mechanic, I can install actuators along the grate, and if you activate them after the event has started, there is a cheese, or at least there was, in which all the enemies will walk down, become ghosts, and hover along underneath the platform, and then just gather here, waiting to be killed by whatever sentry or minion you have. If that still works, might as well use it, particularly for refights, if I'm just doing it to gather more defender medals to upgrade gear. And if it doesn't work, well, trial it and find out that they've patched it. So yes, recording the time-lapse was a bit of a trial, particularly since during the events I'd be controlling 2 accounts at the same time, which doesn't work very well. So both times we had a goblin army, a graveyard biome spawned, because while I'd be controlling this account, there'd be goblins all over the place, and they'd kill the camera account, and so that would spawn a new headstone, and I'd be fighting here, and then the camera account would respawn, so I'd go back and try and fight off with the camera account, and while I'm doing that, all the goblins would swarm this account and try and kill it. So there were a lot of headstones, enough to create a graveyard, which meant that I was fighting goblins in the graveyard. Great fun. But so yes, I don't know if I'll use that technique again. Maybe I will. I guess it depends. If I can get the local area network working, then it should be fairly straightforward to close the game, to cancel the event and reopen it and reset up the network, the multiplayer server. Unfortunately, going via Steam, it just gets a little bit annoying to have to constantly restart. Anyway, let's move on to the other stuff we were doing today. I had a look at the footage from the fight of Skeletron last episode, and I do know where I went wrong. I wasn't aiming for the hands. I was trying to take down the head straight away, but of course we're playing in expert mode, and it just doesn't work like that anymore. So I probably don't need... I can increase my damage output without upgrading my weapons, but I still would like to upgrade my weapons. And the way to upgrade weapons at the moment would be to fight Queen Bee. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get some bee nades and beeswax and all that sort of stuff. We've got another fairy. Where are you going, fairy? Going out this way. Is this to a chest I've already found? Probably is. Yep, it's going up to that chest. If I'm going to be fighting Queen Bee... Oh dear. Jungle is a dangerous place. What won't I need? I probably won't need the obsidian skull, but the Zor would be very useful. And I suppose I should be finding the most convenient beehive. I know I've seen a few around. Tell you what, I'll check the map and come back when I get there. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh dear, I'm not prepared for this at all. This is all in water. It's not actually a very good place for the fight, and I was very low on life from when I was drowning on my way in. I think we should find another beehive for that fight. So yes, there is another beehive which I've glimpsed at, and that may work, but I think why not just dig around a bit, explore a bit more of the jungle, and the other way there's also a possibility of finding the jungle temple, which we will need to find at some point, so why not do it sooner rather than later. So yes, I've been not too bad since we last met. So yes, I've been doing alright since the last episode. Had my first COVID vaccine yesterday, a fact I will be milking to great effect when I need an excuse for why I'm doing badly. It hasn't really given me any particular side effects. Slightly sore arm, but that's pretty common and it's not all that bad, really. I say that now, but I'll be complaining about it a great deal during the fight. It's my movement arm, the one that goes on the keyboard. Quite low on health. So I'll be blaming it for every single dodge that I fail. It goes on. Oops. You slow down. Oh, there's a bee's nest. Missed something here. Yes, this. Is that a geyser or is it just a rock? Ah, it's a tree stump. Yep. What's of a wood? Mahogany, of course. And my health was lower than I thought it was. We got that chest. Didn't find the jungle temple yet, but found a bee's nest. So we can head back there. But yes, while we're making our way there, regarding the multiple... Have I looted that chest? I believe I have, yes. Regarding the multiple goblin armies and blood moons, when I was trying to build, I do think it is an area in which there is a possibility for some modded improvement, and that is an ability to say, no, I don't want this event right now. Probably, you know, an item would work. Obtainable reasonably early on, which just cancels all current events. Sharp bone pickaxe, no, we don't need that. And it's something to be considered, but there is also something to be said for maybe not going that route and instead dropping the frequency of events. Of course, the problem you run into there is that once you drop the frequency of events, when you want to do the event, it doesn't spawn in. So perhaps you could have it that the first time you, or before you defeat the event, it has a normal spawn rate, but afterwards it spawns less frequently. Sort of in much the way that, say, a boss would change its chances of spawning once you've defeated it. But instead of going down to 0, it would go down to some non-zero but low value. I'm not going to take the gravitational potion, because if I end up fighting Queen Bee and I take all the buffs, I don't actually want to be floating up and down. Although it would make for an interesting fight. Before we go into there, let's head up here. So yes, don't know which route I'd go. I am liking the idea of the item that just simply straight up cancels any ongoing event, and you know, even something like a weather event, I don't know why you'd want to cancel them, but it could simply reset all events to not on, or it could instead only work on invasion events or the like. I don't think it should cancel, well, it shouldn't cancel boss fights, and I also don't think it should cancel the pillars, the celestial event. That seems to be a bit of an overreach. Ooh, a bee minecart. Spelunker potions are useful. I'll probably end up wasting one, but that's okay. What don't I need? I don't need stone. I'll take the coins. Coins are always helpful. And I've already got a staff of regrowth. I think I've got a honey dispenser somewhere. Oops. So yes, let's see. Can I see where the lava is? I cannot. That's okay. Let's start digging. I'm not picking up hives. I think I want to pick up hives. It's the other way I can craft the spawning item in case I don't defeat Queen Bee on the first attempt, or second attempt. Now then, what do we have here? We've got a very long, well, not long, tall deep. So we'll want to put a little bit of blocks here. And that way we're not actually slowing ourselves down too much by constantly having to swim in honey. But you know, a couple of pools to dip into. And then let's see how far I can take digging this out. Oops. Once again, I have started the fight before I was ready. I should probably stop doing that. That's okay, we have the fight, and at least I've taken my buffs and have somewhat decent health. No, there we go. Stingers, which I can kind of dodge. The benefit of a sword is that it also allows you to kill off the bees as they hover around you, which means that they stop pestering you, but also they can drop hearts which heal you. There's another man-eater getting in the way. Just drop. There we go. Ooh, I'm making some of these close dodges. I'm kind of dodging the attacks alright, but oops. That's never been a real big problem for me with the queen bee fight. So long as I've got room to maneuver, I can usually jump over the charges and avoid all the stingers. The bees are alright, as long as you're not getting caught in the knockback loop. It's just aiming, really. Especially since I prefer to use melee weapons. Not too many bees about, so let's try number 4. Oh no, I've lost my movement keys. I've probably got the wrong arrow type for queen bee, really. I don't know how quickly I can swap arrows, but the piercing arrows, you're not really going to hit the bees all that often to make a difference, so you're better off with the faster speed that other arrows might give you. But it's all a moot point if you can't aim them anyway. How are we doing? No, we're not going too badly. I say as I get myself caught on the wall and stuck in attack. I haven't needed to heal since the fight started. I think the queen bee is doing less damage to me than just the regular enemies of the jungle are. It's probably because I'm a bit reckless when it comes to just casual enemies. I'll charge in like that. But I'll at least try and dodge boss attacks. And of course there's the regular little bits of health from killing off the little bees. They weren't hitting. And that's why I do prefer using melee, really. It's a class that I don't have to aim with. Obviously you've got to aim a little bit, but you're always swinging something around you. So long as you get in close, you'll be dealing damage. Which is something that can't be said for classes like Mage or Ranger in particular. You need to have the cursor in the right place. And often that just isn't me. Ooh, barely missed that one. Barely missed that one. Didn't miss that one, I don't think. It was so close though. I might actually need to cut down this fight though, because it is taking a while. And really, the reason that it's taking a while is that... my buffs have worn off. Hang on, let me buff up. The reason that it's taking such a long time is I'm just not hitting anything. Come on, tank the last bit. So close, can't die now. Rapid fire. Yes! There we go. Completed. Oh. That would have been a lot easier if I'd hit some attacks every now and again. I just couldn't aim. And I can't blame that on the COVID jab, because that's the other arm. The arm that's fine. So then, we got the treasure bag. Whether we got coffee. Ooh, I wonder if I took any of that when I hit B. I obviously took some Spelunker. Is there anything in here that we can get rid of before I open up the treasure bag? I want those because I don't think I have any, but I can actually stick them in the social slot. That got me the bottled honey. Not as good as the healing potion, and I've got plenty of those. But I believe it is a material. I'm not sure if it's just for the abomination though. What else don't I need? I don't really need jungle grass seeds, but I think I'll keep them. They will be useful for a life fruit farm. I'll keep the hive blocks. They'll be useful for honey, like honey buckets, except without the bucket. Here we go, I've got a money trough. I can put some things in here. You can see. Got an assortment of things in here. I don't really need lesser healing potions. The rally can go in there for now. What else? I'll keep the... Ooh, we got the witch doctor. Excellent. Counterweight can go in there for now. I'm not really using the yo-yo, even though it's on my hotbar. It's just... I do like using yo-yos. They're a fun weapon. But the good yo-yos really come in hard mode. It's... The Amazon is alright as a starting weapon, but by the time you're up to here, and in particular we got the Enchanted Sword, and the Enchanted Sword is just the best starting weapon you can hope for. I mean, it's seen us through, that's now Queen Bee, So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 bosses. Can't complain about that. And the Amazon, be alright for Eye of Cthulhu and King Slime, but past them, really just not got the power. And already we're needing to upgrade from the Enchanted Sword. So what have we got? We got the Bee's Knees. Bee's Knees is excellent. It's a great bow for fighting Skeletron with, because you get the bees. We got Bee Pants. They're a vanity item. Hive Pack, that's the expert. Increases the strength of friendly bees. I probably won't use it. And there we go, Jungle Temple. We found it. And out this way, there's not much jungle at all. I've noticed that quite a bit, and I'm not sure if it's a quirk of the world gen, or if perhaps it's simply because the jungle temple is so large. But I've noticed that it often spawns right on the edge of the jungle. Okay, then let's try and find this entrance to the jungle temple. And having found the entrance to the jungle temple, we now know where to find it to build that house that we'll build there, which will be the cavern pylon. Make it nice and convenient for once we get to hard mode. Particularly, I'd like to build it before getting to hard mode, and especially before defeating the mechanical bosses, because otherwise the jungle's a lot more dangerous during that time. And it would be nice to be able to skip most of it to get down to where we'll need to enter the jungle. And especially since I'll probably build the Plantera arena near here as well. Something I like doing. It concentrates those uses that you need in pretty much the same spot, so you're not having to travel as far. And especially with the pylons, that's sort of what you'd want. That looks very entrancey. And there's the door. Oops! I forgot to check the traps. Get over it like that. We've got a few caves in here, but they don't look particularly big. I'll have to work out somewhere to put this little collection of houses that we'll build here. Oops! I was drowning. Well, on that note, and that dropped 11 gold, I think I'll call this episode here. We've done some building, we've done some exploring, and we've fought a boss. What more can you ask for? And yes, next episode we'll try the fight against Skeletron again. And if that fails, Old One's army, I guess. So that's it for now. Until then.